You know, I've never been at all interested in watching sports. I just don't understand why I should be excited that other people have won a game. Would you be excited if I told you I beat Elden Ring? I don't see why you should care, so why should I care about the Super Cup or whatever? When it comes to entertainment, I don't want to watch men playing with a ball. I want to watch women getting chased out of their clothes by chainsaws. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Below the Belt from 1971 from director Bethel Buckalew. I've talked about him a number of times. Between 1970 and 1973, he made quite a few sexy hicksploitation comedies, and in the middle of that period, he made this film, a boxing/crime film. And even though I don't like sports, I do like sport movies. Cheerleading's a sport, right? But beyond cheerleading, I also like boxing movies. They tend to be pretty good dramas. There's something poetic about the violence. No pads, no teammates, just sweat and fist. I've had a few nights like that myself.
I can give it to you.
So I was interested in checking this out. We open on Box Office International. That's Harry Novak's company. His movies have been on the channel loads, and I do mean loads of times. And then we get this guy exercising. That'll be our boxer. As the credits come to an end, our boxer meets a goddess, Uschi Digard. The trainer, Sammy, that's Midnight Plowboy himself, John Tull, he picks up the pair and takes them back to his, fitness studio. Oh, and check it out, the janitor of this place is George Buckflower. He was last on the channel in another Buckalew romp, The Dirty Mind of Young Sally. Anyway, that's enough cast talk. Let's watch John Tull and Uschi cast off their clothes. Well, actually, that's nothing you can see here on YouTube.
Man, I just work here.
But of course, we don't have to stay here. Support the channel on Patreon and get access to uncensored, spicy versions of my reviews. Link is in the description. Whew, that scene was 7 minutes of tanned, maybe even sunburnt, poolside flotation devices. Wow. But let's see what the boxer is up to. Well, he's training with George, and then this gangster type shows up with a nice-looking gal who, under orders from the gangster type, proceeds to put the moves on our boxer. He's resistant, our boy still has his V-card, and he's afraid to give it up.
Don't do that, Lisa.
Haven't you seen a woman before?
My God, would you stop that?
The gangster meets with the boxer's manager, Sammy. Looks like the gangster is trying to fix the fight, but it ain't working out. Sammy, the manager, goes to a house of ill repute looking for a gal, but the gal's not there. The gal that is there says that she's in the hospital, and Sammy should know that because he's the one who put her there. The gal here is the second goddess of the movie, Rene Bond. And what's better than Rene Bond? Well, this movie came out before she enhanced herself, and she looks fantastic. Rene Bond, by the way, was previously on the channel in the Lost and then Found Again Violated. It's pretty good. You should check it out. Back with a gangster, he abuses his lady friend, which drives her into the arms of this little hottie. That's Terry Johnson, another one from Midnight Plowboy. The two gals comfort each other by cuddling and watching an episode of Sesame Street.
What is the Sesame Street number of the day?
Yeah, something like that. The boxer, who has eyes for the gangster's gal, didn't much like her showing up with a shiner, so he belts the gangster. That's risky. The gangster takes it in stride and then tells him to win his fight, and then tells Sammy, the manager, that his days are numbered. Maybe he also watches Sesame Street. So, we've got a fight coming up and a gangster making threats against Sammy, but that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. There are some gorgeous people in this thing. The Uschi pool scene is one of the better ones that she ever filmed, and that's saying something. It's up there with the slippery massage scene in Getting into Heaven. Rene Bond looks amazing here, and the Sesame Street episode I mentioned is pretty nice. But in addition to all of that, which is already more than enough to justify watching this thing, about 2/3 into the movie there's a kind of party where some gals are auctioned off, and there are some nice wares on display in that scene. The scene, though, is super sleazy, and that's me saying that, and of course it will remain entirely hidden here on YouTube. If only there were some other way. I've complained on the channel before about how Buckalew filmed sexy scenes, but I'm happy to report that these scenes here are pretty well done. The camera does get a bit too close at times, but more often than not, the framing and lighting are flattering, and therefore pretty hot. The movie is also at times pretty funny. It's not a straight comedy like his Hicksploitation films, but there are silly moments here. I like the scene leading up to the Uschi pool scene where John Tull talks about how hard he works and how he takes great care of the boxer, and it's cut with flashback scenes of him abusing the boxer. It's pretty good.
I get up each morning just to make sure that he has a good breakfast.
Hey, Sammy, we don't have any cereal for breakfast. What's wrong with hot dogs?
I'm constantly worrying about his balanced diet.
Some of the humor, though, I'm sure was unintentional, like these boxing sounds. But unfortunately, that's about it as far as highlights go. Like a pool boy playing with flotation devices, this film has some shortcomings. Well, first off, what's with the weird editing in this movie?
I saw you talking to that chick, Johnny.
What was that? Weirdness aside, there's quite a bit about this that didn't really work for me. I like John Tull, he's a charismatic and funny actor, but here he plays a kind of abusive villain, which didn't seem like the best use of his talents. I mean, I can kind of see what they were going for, it just didn't work for me. And near the end of the film, when he's at his most stressed and violent, it takes away from the sexiness of the scenes. Although I do have to admire his shamelessness, there are times here when images of him tell us why it's called soft core. His character aside, the story in general wasn't terribly well fleshed out. Again, I could tell what they were going for, but a movie like this doesn't really have time to develop a story like that. The movie is on the longer side for a softcore romp, but since the sexy scenes take up a big chunk of the runtime, there's not really enough time left to develop a story, at least one not as involved in this one. I kind of like how you can tell they just filmed this in locations they had available, people's houses and garages, but I kind of wish they had incorporated the very low budget sets into the story. I mean, it's obviously a garage, not a gym. It's obviously a backyard, not a sauna, so own it. Incorporate this fighter's humble beginnings into the story. He trains in a garage, he runs in the streets, he gets nude massages in the backyard. I mean, it worked for Rocky. Well, not that last part, but you get the idea. Although I will say the low-budget setting does give us this chest of drawers where one is labeled bananas. That's just bananas.